chosen one, close the door behind you. Not because the world is your enemy, but because what is about to reach your spirit cannot survive in the noise. There are moments in life when heaven does not shout from the crowd. It whispers in the room where nobody is watching, where your mask finally falls, where your soul can breathe again. This message is not for the version of you that performs strength in front of people. It is not for the smile you carry into work, not for the voice that says, "I'm fine," when your heart has been carrying storms no one has noticed. This is for the hidden you, the tired you, the one who has been feeling strangely distant from old conversations, old habits, old rooms, and old versions of yourself. For a long time, you have sensed that something was changing, but you could not explain it. You have sat in rooms full of people and still felt alone. You have heard laughter around you and wondered why it no longer touched the place inside you it used to touch. You have scrolled, replied, showed up, smiled, helped, listened, and still felt like your spirit was being pulled somewhere deeper. That pull was not confusion, it was a summons. The Father has been drawing you away from the loud places because there are things about your next season that cannot be revealed in public. Some instructions are too sacred for casual ears. Some callings are too heavy to be announced before the crowd understands the weight of them. Some doors only open when you are alone enough to hear the key turn. So take one real breath, let your shoulders drop, look around the room you are in. This place has seen the version of you that the world rarely sees. It has held your silence, your questions, your private tears, your late-night prayers, your unfinished thoughts. And tonight, that hidden version of you is being addressed. Stay until the end, because this is not just a message, this is a mirror. And before it is over, you will understand why your isolation was never punishment. It was preparation. There is a reason the conversations that once entertained you have begun to exhaust you. It is not because you suddenly became cold. It is not because you are better than anyone. It is because your spirit has started refusing what your old self used to tolerate. The same jokes that once made you laugh now feel empty. The same gossip that once filled the silence now feels heavy. The same group chats that once made you feel included now leave you strangely drained after every reply. This is one of the first signs of separation. Not separation caused by pride, but separation caused by growth. When the soul begins to awaken, it can no longer feed on noise and call it connection. It can no longer sit at tables where everything is spoken except truth. It can no longer keep shrinking itself just to remain familiar to people who only knew the smaller version. You may have blamed yourself for changing. You may have wondered why you no longer have the energy to explain yourself, to attend every gathering, to answer every message, to pretend every conversation still matters. But listen carefully. Your exhaustion is not always weakness. Sometimes exhaustion is your spirit saying, "This is no longer where I belong." Even the distractions that once helped you escape have started losing their power. Movies, music, plans, late-night scrolling, random entertainment, all the things you once used to numb the ache inside now feel thinner than before. You pause things halfway. You lose interest faster. You sit with your phone in your hand and still feel something in you searching beyond the screen. That emptiness is not the end of joy. It is the ending of false comfort. The decoy lights are dimming so the true signal can become visible. The Father is not taking pleasure away from you. He is removing the things that kept you from recognizing the voice beneath the noise. What once distracted you from your calling is now being exposed as too small for the season you are entering. So do not panic when old pleasures no longer satisfy you. Do not rush back into old rooms just because silence feels unfamiliar. Something sacred is being cleared inside you. And emptiness, when guided by heaven, is often the first shape of preparation. The signs have been surrounding you longer than you realize. At first, you dismissed them because they seemed too small to matter, a number appearing again and again. The same hour catching your eyes on different clocks, a phrase repeated by two unrelated people in the same week. A song finding you on the exact morning your heart felt too heavy to speak. A dream so vivid that waking up felt less real than the place you had just left. You told yourself it was coincidence because part of you was afraid to believe heaven could be that personal. But chosen one, the Father has always known how to speak in ways only the called can recognize. He does not always use thunder. Sometimes he uses repetition. Sometimes he uses timing. Sometimes he places a sentence in the mouth of a stranger because you would not have received it from someone close to you. Sometimes he lets the same sign return until your distracted mind finally becomes still enough to notice. The dreams are part of this too. Those dreams that carry a strange weight, the ones that stay with you through the day, the ones where places, faces, and feelings seem to carry a message deeper than the images themselves. You may wake up unable to explain them, but your spirit remembers. Your conscious mind may not understand the language, but something inside you knows it was not random. And then there are the hours when you wake without an alarm. 3 in the morning, 4:17, the same time again and again, as if your body has been trained by an invisible hand. You may have called it insomnia. You may have rolled over frustrated, wondering why sleep keeps leaving you. But what if that hour is not punishment? What if it is an invitation? The next time it happens, do not immediately fight it. Sit up for a moment. Place your hand over your heart. Whisper, "I am here. I am listening." That is enough. You do not need perfect words. You do not need a perfect prayer. You only need presence. Because the season you are in is not trying to break you. It is trying to get your attention. And the signs are not here to confuse you. They are breadcrumbs leading you back to the voice you were born to recognize. Now hear this clearly, because this is where many chosen ones misunderstand the season. The signs were not the destination. The dreams were not the destination. The strange hours, the repeated numbers, the distance from old conversations, all of these were not the full message. They were only the doorway. What matters now is not simply that you are being called. What matters is what is being formed inside you while you are being called. This season is a workshop. It is not a waiting room. Heaven did not pull you aside just to leave you staring at the walls, wondering when life would begin again. Something in you is being built with precision, layer by layer, in silence. And because it is still hidden, people around you cannot understand it. They only see your distance. They only notice that you are quieter. They may think you are changing in a negative way, but they do not see that your inner architecture is being rebuilt. The first thing being formed is discernment. You are beginning to sense what is real and what is performance. You can enter a room and feel the difference between peace and pretense. You can hear words and still recognize the spirit behind them. This did not come from comfort. It came from the nights you had to sit with your own thoughts and learn which voices were true. The second thing being formed is strength without hardness. You have been hurt, but you are not becoming cruel. You have been disappointed, but you are not losing compassion. You are learning how to love without losing yourself, how to care without carrying what was never assigned to you, how to be present without becoming consumed. The third thing being formed is stillness. Not silence from fear, but silence with authority. You no longer need to explain every feeling, defend every boundary, or convince every person to understand you. Something in you is learning to stand without apology. And the fourth thing being formed is permission. Permission to obey what God placed inside you, even when no one claps. Permission to leave what drains you. Permission to become who you were before the world taught you to shrink. There is an old pattern in sacred history that many people read too quickly. Heaven rarely announces the deepest assignments in front of crowds. The most important visitations often happen in hidden rooms, ordinary rooms, quiet rooms, places where nothing seems dramatic from the outside. A person is alone, doing nothing that looks impressive, and suddenly the atmosphere changes. A word arrives, a calling is named, a life is divided into before and after. This is why your room matters. You thought the closed door meant you were being forgotten, but the closed door was protecting the announcement. You thought the silence meant nothing was happening, but silence was the environment heaven needed to speak without interruption. You thought you were being left out of life, but you were being pulled out of noise so the original voice could become clear again. The public version of you has received enough opinions. The private version of you needed a word. That is why some people could not come with you into this season. Not because they are evil, not because they have no value, but because they are not built to witness the first formation of what God is doing in you. Some people can celebrate the fruit, but they cannot understand the root. Some people can applaud the result, but they would have mishandled the process. So heaven covered you. It hid you. It placed you behind the door until your inner yes became stronger than your need to be understood. And in that hidden place, you have been learning how to guard what is sacred. Your peace is sacred. Your calling is sacred. Your sensitivity is sacred. Your ability to see what others ignore is sacred. For years, you may have treated these things like burdens. You may have apologized for feeling deeply, for noticing too much, for needing space, for being unable to pretend. But what you called too much was often the very evidence of what you carry. You were not placed in solitude to become invisible. You were placed there to become trustworthy. The room was not your prison, it was your altar. And what has been built there will soon have to stand in the open without collapsing under attention. There is another part of this season that you must understand before you misread it. Relationships are about to shift, and some of them have already started shifting. People you once felt close to may begin to feel strangely far away. Conversations may become shorter. Messages may become less frequent. The connection may still exist, but the old ease may no longer be there. And because you have a sensitive heart, you may wonder if you did something wrong. You did not. Sometimes distance is not rejection. Sometimes distance is alignment. When your inner life changes, your outer circle cannot remain exactly the same. The version of you that once held certain relationships together may no longer exist. The over-explainer, the peacekeeper, the one who laughed to keep things comfortable, the one who said yes while quietly disappearing inside, that version is being released. And when that version leaves, some connections no longer know how to reach you. Do not chase them by becoming small again. Do not return to old habits just to prove you have not changed. Do not force yourself to sit at tables where your spirit has already said goodbye. Love people without dragging yourself backward for them. Bless what was real, honor what it taught you, but do not confuse history with assignment. Some people were part of your survival season, but they are not built for your becoming season. This will hurt in a quiet way. You may grieve people who are still alive. You may miss rooms you no longer belong in. You may remember how easy it used to feel before your soul became honest. Let yourself feel that grief, but do not build a house inside it. Because as some connections fade, new ones will begin to appear. Not loud, not forced, not crowded with performance, but steady, clean, and strangely familiar. People will come who understand the language your spirit has been writing in private. They will not require you to shrink to be loved. They will not punish your silence. They will recognize your depth without asking you to explain every wound that created it. The old table had to empty so the right people could find the seat beside you. The second area that is beginning to shift is your purpose. For years, it may have felt like your life was carrying a direction you could not name. You sensed there was something more, but every time you tried to explain it, the words felt too small. You saw fragments, not the full picture. A desire here, a burden there, a strange pull towards certain people, certain messages, certain problems in the world that would not leave your heart alone. That was not confusion, that was purpose forming before language. Now the vague thing is going to sharpen, not all at once, and not in the dramatic way your imagination expected. There may not be a thunderous sign in the sky. There may not be one perfect plan handed to you with every step already written. Purpose often arrives as a pressure, a holy discomfort, a repeated nudge, a thought that keeps returning at the wrong time, or maybe the right time, until you finally stop pretending you do not hear it. You may feel fear when it becomes clearer. Do not mistake that fear for a warning. Sometimes the body trembles, not because the path is wrong, but because the path is real. A small life may feel safe because it asks nothing new from you, but an assigned life will stretch you. It will call you beyond the version of yourself that survived. It will require the healed version, the honest version, the version that no longer builds excuses out of old pain. Do not wait until you feel fully ready. Readiness is often revealed after obedience, not before it. The first step will not show you the whole staircase. It will only show you enough ground for your next foot. But when you move, the next instruction will meet you. This is how heaven trains trust. Not by giving you the entire map, but by proving that the voice is faithful one step at a time. Your purpose is not hiding from you. It is approaching you through small, undeniable invitations. Say yes to the first one, and the second will know where to find you. The third area that is beginning to reorganize is your provision. And this one may surprise you, because for a long time you have connected provision only with effort, strategy, pressure, and survival. You have believed that if something good comes, it must come through exhaustion. If a door opens, it must be because you fought hard enough, proved enough, explained enough, or sacrificed enough to deserve it. But in this next season, provision will not always arrive through the roads you expected. A conversation you almost ignored may carry an opportunity. A skill you thought was ordinary may become valuable in someone else's hands. A person who seemed unrelated to your journey may suddenly become a bridge. A delayed answer may return with more weight than it would have carried if it arrived earlier. The Father is not limited to the plans you were able to imagine while you were afraid. This does not mean you stop working. It means you stop worshipping struggle as the only proof that blessing is real. You have been trained to trust difficulty more than ease. You have learned to be suspicious of open doors because closed doors became familiar. But there comes a time when receiving becomes part of obedience too. When provision begins to come, do not shrink in front of it. Do not apologize for being chosen for an opportunity. Do not undercharge because you are afraid someone will think you are too confident. Do not reject help because pain taught you to survive alone. What is placed in your hands is not only for your comfort, it is for your stewardship. The provision coming to you is connected to the person you have become in private. Every quiet night that built discipline, every unseen act of faithfulness, every moment you did the right thing without applause, all of it has prepared your hands to carry more without being possessed by it. What was hidden is about to be honored. What was overlooked is about to be recognized. What was delayed is about to arrive with timing that proves nothing was wasted. And when it comes, receive it without fear. Heaven does not bless you so you can stay small. It blesses you so what was formed in secret can finally serve in the light. But before you walk fully into this next season, there is a voice inside you that must be answered. It is the voice that rises whenever something sacred begins to feel real. It whispers, maybe you are imagining this. Maybe you are only tired. Maybe you are not chosen. Maybe you are just lonely enough to want your pain to mean something. That voice has followed you for years, and it knows exactly when to speak. It usually appears after a moment of recognition. You feel truth land in your spirit, and then almost immediately doubt arrives to explain it away. You receive a sign, then your mind calls it coincidence. You feel a door opening, then fear reminds you of every time a door closed. You sense that God is calling you higher. Then an old version of you starts listing every reason you are not qualified. Listen carefully. That voice is not always the enemy. Sometimes it is the wounded part of you trying to keep you safe. It was formed in rooms where your sensitivity was misunderstood, where your intuition was dismissed, where your confidence was called arrogance, where your dreams were treated as too big, too strange, too unrealistic. So a protector grew inside you, a protector that learned to make you smaller before anyone else could reject you. But what protected you in one season can imprison you in the next. You do not need to hate that voice. You need to retire it. Place one hand over your heart, if you can, and speak inwardly to the part of you that has been performing safety for years. Tell it, "You kept me alive when I did not know how to stand, but I am not living from fear anymore. You can rest now. I will not abandon myself again." Let that land. Because the sabotage may try to return, you may feel tempted to go back to what drained you, just to prove you have not changed. You may feel tempted to dismiss this whole season as emotion. Do not obey that pull. It is only your nervous system reaching for familiarity. Freedom will feel strange before it feels safe. Keep walking anyway. Now, before this door opens again, before you return to the ordinary rhythm of the world, let this final word settle into the deepest place in you. You were not brought into silence to be abandoned there. You were brought into silence to hear your real name. Not the name people gave you when they misunderstood you. Not the name failure tried to attach to you. Not the name rejection whispered over your private pain. Your real name is called, chosen, formed, guarded, and sent. Everything you thought disqualified you has been quietly preparing you. The sensitivity that made life feel heavy is the same sensitivity that helps you discern what others overlook. The loneliness that once felt like evidence of being forgotten was actually creating space for your spirit to become clear. The delays that frustrated you were not empty delays. They were divine restraints, holding back what you were not yet strong enough to carry without losing yourself. So release the old rooms. Release the need to explain your becoming to people who only recognize your past. Release the guilt for outgrowing conversations that once comforted you. Release the fear that receiving more will make you proud. Real humility does not reject what God gives. Real humility receives it, stewards it, and remembers where it came from. You are not here to perform smallness so others can feel comfortable. You are not here to keep apologizing for the weight of your calling. You are not here to stay loyal to pain just because pain was familiar. You are here to become the vessel that your private seasons have been shaping all along. And when you step out of this room, do not step out as the same person who entered. Step out quieter, but stronger, softer, but clearer, alone if necessary, but no longer abandoned. Let your life begin to move from the inside out. Let your choices honor the person you have become in secret. The chamber is opening now. The hidden season is not wasted. The silence was not empty. The distance was not loss. The pain was not pointless. You were being prepared, protected, refined, and called forward. And now, chosen one, receive this. Your next season will not require the old version of you. It will require the true one.